Let's say you had to get to the next town, so you start walking there. But you wanted to get there quicker, so you start to run. That is an example of achieving more with more. You are using more energy in order to get to your destination quicker. Now imagine you had a bike with you. You can now arrive faster than if you were to walk, and with less effort as well. In other words, you are achieving more with less. The 80-20 principle is a technique that we can use in our lives that will allow us to achieve more with less. Many best-selling business and success books, like The 4-Hour Workweek, for example, focus almost entirely on the 80-20 concept and how to make the most out of it. I've known about the 80-20 principle for some time now, and a lot of people do. But the value I gained from reading an entire book on this concept is not in learning the concept itself, but in the different ways it could be used. Ways that I would never have come up with by myself. Today, I'm going to briefly talk about what the 80-20 principle is, and then I'm going to talk about specific ways you can use the 80-20 concept to do more with your time, enhance personal relationships, and make yourself happier. I'll also explain what the 20% spike is, and show you why it's such a valuable tool to help you discover your hidden potential, as well as in choosing the right career path. So what is the 80-20 principle? An economist back in the 19th century named Wilfredo Pareto discovered that 20% of the population owned about 80% of the wealth. He then found out that everything we can possibly think of follows the exact same rule. A large percentage of results come from a small number of causes. 20% of the carpet in your home gets roughly 80% of the traffic. 20% of the clothes in your closet are worn 80% of the time. On this YouTube channel, 20% of the videos account for 80% of the total views. In other words, 20% of the things we do contribute to 80% of the results, whereas the other 80% only contribute to 20% of the results. Based on that thinking, if we can identify which tasks contribute to the 20% that yields 80% of the results, we can prioritize our time to do more of those things to exponentially boost our productivity. Sometimes though, it can be difficult to identify what those things are, so what I like to do is to first eliminate the 80% of things that give poor results. For example, a couple days ago, I was scoping out what video creators said during their video intros, because creating live videos with my face in front of the camera is something I'm planning to do in the future, in addition to these animated book reviews. I noticed that after a few related video clips, I ended up watching survival shows. For those of you who don't know this about me, in addition to business, success, and women and psychology, I have a thing for survival shows where people are stranded in the wilderness and have to survive on their own. So about an hour in, I caught myself watching an old episode of a survival show, and I thought, okay, this is definitely part of the 80% that contributes to low productivity, so I immediately turned it off and went straight to bed. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about enjoying life and everything, but at the end of the day, I would have probably enjoyed the product of a new video I make from my time over watching a rerun of a survival show. In other words, what I'm saying is, while it might be difficult to identify our most productive actions that contribute to most of our results, we can easily identify the useless things we spend our time on, and then we can focus on eliminating those things first. At first, it might be a bit tough, but it's really just tough because it became a habit. Once your new habits form, it would just be normal to spend the majority of your day on purely productive tasks. I remember mentioning on my video on how successful people think, on how my friend Matthew spends so many hours working without getting tired. And it's true. It's just about developing the habit. There are many other creative ways you can utilize the power of 80-20 for productivity. I won't go into more detail because I think it's pretty straightforward. You can learn more about it by reading one of the books, or do what I do and listen to the audiobook while driving. But I want to tell you about the 20% spike, what it is and how you can use it to help you choose the right career. The 20% spike is a trait unique to you that contributes to 80% of your overall strength. What I mean is, what characteristic about you allows you to excel at certain tasks compared to the average person? For example, I am naturally good at grasping concepts and theories and understanding what people are saying, which makes it easy for me to read a book, understand it, and then explain it in an easy to understand way. On the other hand, I am terrible at numbers, So if I wanted to be an economist, I would probably need to spend more time than the average person in order to achieve the same results. I talked more about this in my Finding Passion video, but in general, once we identify the part of us that contributes to 80% of our ability to offer value to others, and strengthen that part of us, we're able to become the best in the world at it. The 20% spike is a powerful tool that will help us decide which career path we're able to excel in. You can also take a look at personality types, such as the Myers-Briggs Types Indicator, or MBTI for short, to help identify possible areas you're able to excel in. Otherwise, you can ask a few people you know well to tell you what they think you're good at. You can then tally up the results along with your own, and then see if you can find a common theme. Next, I want to talk about the 80-20 principle in relationships and happiness. When I first learned about the 80-20 concept, using it to achieve more work productivity was pretty straightforward, but I didn't even think about its application to other parts of my life until now. So I'm going to quickly go over some of these ideas for you to think about. According to the concept, 80% of marital problems or fights between couples come from the same 20% of reasons. Use that information however way you want to, but what I want to point out isn't arguments or marital problems, but love itself. 80% of the reason we love our partner is only from about 20% of the things he or she does. The same is true the other way around, which means that if we can identify the things that contribute the most impact to our partner's affection for us, we can focus on those things and we can eliminate other things that don't really do anything for the relationship. For example, in a relationship, what matters to me the most is probably when a girl shows me affection. If she cooks for me or cleans the house, I suppose it's a nice thing, but I wouldn't really care about that kind of stuff. Obviously, these things are different for everyone. Cooking could mean a lot to you. By focusing on things that offer the most impact, we're able to improve our relationships as well using the 80-20 principle. There was a quote from a movie or book, I don't really remember where it's from, but it clearly illustrates this principle in action. If only he gave her flowers and took her out to a romantic dinner once a month, she would go to the ends of the earth with him. Finally, there's our happiness. When I was younger, I loved having a lot of friends. Maybe it was because I didn't have a lot of friends back in elementary school, so once I realized people liked me, I just kept wanting more and more. I remembered how my friend and I would compare the number of people who posted happy birthday on our Facebook walls. As a result, I spent a lot of time hanging out with as many people as I could. I had a few very close friends that I enjoyed hanging out with a lot, but I didn't really spend as much time with them as I could have. If I were to go back, I would probably spend more time with the few friends I enjoyed being around with the most, over all my friends equally. It sounds like common sense, but just like constantly opening the fridge to see if there's any new food, a lot of the things we do aren't so well thought out. The 80-20 concept is all around us. I hope this video opened up your mind to all kinds of possibilities the 80-20 principle offers, but most of all, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll see you in a few days. See ya!